Oh, hi. Welcome to the new Segue Says podcast. I'm Seth Campbell. Nah, that's stupid. Sorry, I'm still trying to come up with a new intro for these things, and as you can see, I'm still failing. We'll deal with that another day. Anyway, this week we're going to deal with two songs that are different in just about every way, except for the key, and they're only in the same key because I transposed one of them, but somehow they still work as a really fun and effective segue. The two songs are Cry Love by John Hiatt and Turning Page by Sleeping at Last. Now, if you know either one of those songs, just think polar opposite of it, and you'll get the other song. So, I'm going to show you how you can make these two songs coexist. Now, Cry Love is a very sort of aggressive, defiant song, fairly angry, as most of John Hiatt's songs are. It's based around what's probably the most commonly used progression in all of music. My mentor Chris and I call it the progression, capital T, capital P, because it's that ubiquitous. It's the 1, the 5, the minor 6, the 4, and just repeating. There's lots and lots and lots of songs, hundreds I'm sure, that use that. In fact, there's a group of musician comedians called Axis of Awesome that do a song called Four Chords that's basically bits and pieces of dozens of different songs, all of which use that progression. Now, what makes John Hiatt's song particularly interesting is he varies the harmonic rhythm, so the second and fourth chords are only half as long as the first two. You could consider it either 3/4 or 6/8, but it feels like a 4/4 song with a bar or 2/4 thrown in there. Because it sounds like a sudden cutoff, which is what makes it really interesting. It sounds like this. So it's 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. So you can already hear the emphasis of the chords is different rather than being the same on all four chords, which is what makes the progression occasionally sound kind of stale. Now, to give you a picture of the attitude of this song, I'm going to do a verse-chorus. I'm inevitably going to slip into the John Hiatt singing voice that you first saw in the Down by the Water Perfectly Good Guitar segue. I'm going to do the second verse because it's a little mellower in terms of lyrical content. Had the trust of a woman in his hand, but he was a little boy, not a man. You loved him stronger, and he could feel. He was wrapped up in himself like an orange peel. So what you gonna do with the booze and the blush? What you gonna do when there's no rush? Cop a little misery at the corner store, till one day that train of pain don't stop no more. So cry love, the tears of an angel, the tears of a dove, spilling all over your heart from above. Cry love, cry love. So as you can see, it's a very hard-hitting, aggressive song. And the groove is the centerpiece of all of that. Now, in the completely opposite direction, Turning Page by Sleeping at Last, that's Sleeping at Last is the name of the band. It can be difficult to say that properly. It's a much more mellow, vulnerable, emotional song. And it's originally in E-flat, but it eventually gets pretty high in the chorus, and it's difficult to convey the emotion in a fairly weak falsetto voice, so I brought it down to C, which is the same key that Cry Love is in originally. So, it's very melodic, piano-led. This is the opening piece to it. And I'm going to play a verse-chorus so you can get the feel of it. I've waited 100 years, I'd wait 1,000,000 more for you. prepared me for the privilege of being yours would do. If I had only felt the warmth within your touch, if I had only seen how you smile when you blush, or how you curl your lip when you concentrate enough, I would have known what I've been living for all alone. What I've been living for. And it cycles around again, although the piano is more active. It's kind of, the music swells, as they say in film terminology. But the melodies and the verses saying there's just this. Sort of more active piano part. But as you can see, it's a very different song from Cry Love. It's a much more mellow piece where the lyrics, less than the groove, are holding the majority of the meaning. Now, you may be wondering after hearing these how they can possibly work together. Well, this is a segue a bit like the Say Landslide segue I did a while back, in that both songs can go into the other fairly well. But you don't want to do this segue both ways. You can do it one way or the other, and you want to just leave it at that, because you're going to be changing the emotion of the set and the crowd very suddenly. And the thing about a set list is you don't want to do all hard, rocking, upbeat the entire time. You don't want to do mellow, soft, and sad the entire time either. But you also don't want to do one, the other, one, the other, one, the other, one, the other, because then you're just throwing people back and forth, and they can't really settle in a mental space. However, you do want to occasionally take a sharp turn, in that you've done a few loud ones, you want to do a quiet one, or you've done a couple quiet ones, you want to do a loud one, etc. So this is the type of segue that you would employ at one of those turns, because obviously one's loud, one's quiet, one's fast, one's slow, one's angry, one's more contemplative, however you want to think of it. Now, because they're in the same key, at least with the modulation key change of turning page, that's what we're going to use. And this is going to be the kind of segue we've talked about before, where you basically stop on the last chord, let it air out, and begin the new piece by kind of fading it in. So Cry Love, for example, ends, it goes double time in the last chorus, and it's very intense. Cry love, cry love. On the big C major, give it just enough time to breathe, and you start the riff of the piano melody of the new song. So that's how you would do Cry Love into Sleeping at Last. Now, or excuse me, by Turning Page. Sleeping at Last is the band name. When am I going to get that right? But if you wanted to do it the other way, Turning Page kind of builds up, the music continues to swell, and there's a B section at the end. Though we're tethered to the story we must tell. When I saw you, well, I knew we'd tell it well. With a whisper, we will calm these vicious seas like a feather that brings kingdoms to their knees. And then the piano kind of takes things out very gently. Now that's how that ends. The essence of Cry Love is, of course, the groove. Da, ba, da, da, ga, da, 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 da. So once again, you're going to end this song and let it breathe just enough. You can hold the sustain pedal to make it feel a little cloudy, ambiguous. You probably want to just start in the right hand so the chords feel lighter, and then you gradually bring in the left hand where the bass notes are. I'm roaming down steel, a giant house. He said goodbye to you, or did you kick him out? I know you're not afraid to go alone, but this was a marriage of spirit and flesh and bone. So it's about giving it just enough time to breathe, start the new song, but start it gently, let it build, break into the new groove, and you've established yourself. So that's how you do that. And like I said, you really only want to do this segue one way or the other. You can't start with Cry Love, go into Turning Page, come back to Cry Love. It just does not work. Trust me. Because, again, that would be fast, slow, or slow, fast. And like I said, that's kind of keeping the audience too off balance. You don't want that. That said, this is a particularly effective segue either way from one of the others. So basically, kind of like say Landslide, if one's requested, I'll start with that and go to the other one. Or if one feels more right in the set at this moment, fits the mood, you start with that one and go into the other one. It completely depends on where you want to put it. You could even theoretically do this as an encore. You go out and you play the quiet one and then you build it up into the loud one so you leave people with the power of it. Totally up to you how you want to utilize it. I just demonstrate these so you can take them and create your own and do whatever you will with them to spice up a set list. Now, before I sign off this week, I'd like to dedicate this particular episode to my friend Tessa Ellis, who was a bartender at Chestnut Hill for a while while I've been playing. Since I've been playing there, she was a bartender there for a while. She's out in California now for two reasons. One, she loves both of these songs. Requested "Cry Love" a few times, and I actually learned Turning Page to celebrate her last night there. And second, because it's her birthday this week. So happy birthday, Tessa! Hope you enjoy hearing these songs again. Come back east, and I'll be sure to play the full thing for you if you can. Make it out to the piano bar sometime. So, hope you enjoyed, and everyone else, thanks as always for watching. Remember, 2 weeks from now will be the 50th, well, you can't call it anniversary because it's not years, it's weeks, but the 50th episode for which I have big plans. So I will see you then, but first, of course, I will see you next week. Thanks for watching.